We had a strong day in the markets yesterday. Might have a taco trade on our hands. This is exactly what I said to look out for and why we need and must always wait for confirmation. I've got a really strong list today, so I won't spend too much time here in the intro, but I do want to finish that point of waiting for confirmation. I urge you to force yourself to start to do this. Everything changed for me in the markets. A couple of things happened. One was I learned to control myself, risk management, and become more mechanical, knowing the models that I had edge. But the other thing was learning market breadth and timing and waiting for the confirmation to have the momentum of the markets behind my models. Predicting is something that is extremely hard to do. And I'm going to work on beginning to show you guys more examples of what waiting for confirmation looks like. I mean, it is the triple R, but there's so many breakout levels and box breakouts and things. And I have a couple of them that just naturally came up here today where the shakeout happens, right? These things break out and it's such an emotional trigger where you feel like you've got to go get involved. It's going without me. But I promise you, more often than not, it pulls back to retest that level or at the very least put in a higher low, or if we're trading downside, a lower high. But it will confirm, it will come back, and we look for Wall Street to step in and hold structure, hold our levels, and reinitiate trend. That is the entire thesis behind, the basis behind the triple R. But I'm really going to start leaning into this, guys. Wait for confirmation, because when I stopped trying to predict the markets, I stopped spinning tires, I started making money, I changed my fucking life. Okay, so I'm just going to start leaning into that a little bit more. You know, I've got some people in Bootcamp that are kind of connecting with it. I take what you guys say, man, your feedback and your questions and things that you say are resonating with you. A lot of that rolls into the points that I make here in Watchlist. So guys, thank you very much for that. Let's jump in. A lot to cover here today. Looking at Brett's, starting with it as we like to do. The SPY, a decent day on volume. It looks like we might have a taco trade. I haven't dug into the headlines just yet. I'm not a headline trader. I trade structure. The charts tell me enough, okay? If there's a major catalyst, we're going to know on the charts immediately, okay? And I can trust those over headlines. These things are meant to drive emotion, okay? They're meant to get interactions. They're not always, the context is very rarely aligned with the actual narrative or what's really happening. So I don't do the news. I don't do the headlines. So I know I mentioned I'm gonna look and see what happened yesterday, but I can see here on the 5-minute, something happened yesterday, okay? And I'm pretty sure that was aligned with a walk back of the EU tariffs, right? Something that I said to look out for, guys. I literally said, I expect a tweet. I said that yesterday. I said that Tuesday. I expect a tweet, okay? A counter tweet is, I believe, how I put it. Seems like that's exactly what I got. I'm not sure exactly what this move is from, but I'm pretty sure it's a walk back of the tariffs. I did see a little bit of that on X when I woke up. Anyways, guys, decent close here on the SPY. We are looking for this to get back above the previous all-time highs. I mentioned we are not out of the woods yet. There still is the chance that we put in a lower high here because we have made a lower low. Okay, so if we make a lower low, come back and make a lower high, we're just going to have to see. So we're not out of the woods. We don't have confirmation either way just yet. Okay, so please wait for it. What would confirmation of the upside be? Coming back up here, breaching that, and building above, okay? If that's what we can do, we're going to get aggressive to the long side. If we roll over, at this point, I told you I didn't want to take shorts the first time through this level, but if we make a lower high and come back down and re-breach that 50, I might initiate some of the short names here that I was talking about yesterday. I'm not going to go through that much here again today, but I'll look at it a little more closely if we do put in a lower high somewhere in this region and then re-breach that 50. I'll talk about it. I'll think about it. Guys in chat, I'll do that live if it's something that is to happen today. But, things look decent. Looking at the ES here, things look okay. We're holding up on this move that we got yesterday. So we're just going to have to take it day by day. Look, the RSP had a snapback move, right? Closed the whole gap, almost back at all-time highs there. That would be really great to see is RSP making the equally weighted, right? So broad positioning, more broad positioning base than the SPY, which is heavily weighted by the Mag 7. So look, guys, this looks good. This looks good, okay? And then IWM small caps closing at all-time highs. Not the kind of thing you see in a burn the world environment, okay? Just gonna go ahead and say that. The VIX got slammed again as well. Like I said, I just don't wanna see us hanging out too much around that 2050 area where I know things to get quite snappy. So overall, constructive day. We even had the 10-year come back a little bit as well. You know, this could be confirmation. We had our breakout. Okay, so if we pull back, test this, and start to curl back up, that wouldn't be a great look. But if we invalidate the move and get back down there into range, that would actually be pretty constructive. We have crypto as well. You know, I can't make a call on this yet. It's basically what I said to look out for is happening. I said if we test this range, fail it, and re-breach the 50, then I'm looking for it to actually breach this lower cyan line. That's a short. Hasn't happened yet. I'll wait for that confirmation. We could just continue to range. We could bounce off of this and get over the trend line. That's, you know, maybe initiate longs up in that world, but we're just not there. Real quick, let's look at the market breadth, some additional indicators here. This is the stocks above and below their 50 and 200-day moving average. Part of the reason why I wasn't overly bearish on the market is, you know, we didn't really lose the constructive look of higher highs, higher lows that we have here. And we didn't even get down to the zero line on the stocks making new highs versus new lows. We're okay right now in the markets, guys. The weekly is looking fine as well. We have not breached the swing low on the weeklies either. So visually, we are okay. Narratives, headlines, guys, you got to learn to ignore that stuff. Trade the structure that the market is giving us, okay? And one thing I want to talk about, apparently there is a giant winter storm in the States. So a little bit late on this move. GNRC is something that you could consider. We've got a weekly trigger happening here. Again, a little bit late on this move, but you know, we're playing the narrative. There's this massive storm that's supposed to cut power all over the nation. This could get a little bit spicy, especially if it's able to clear this range. I don't hate it with an anticipatory. I do not do this very much at all. Okay, this is not one of my 6 models. I don't have proven edge in this, so I want to be upfront in what I'm saying here. But I don't hate the idea of anticipating, because we have gotten a change of character that's holding up, getting back over the 200, doing it over here on the daily as well, right? We've got some volume coming in. We've got a narrative right now. I don't hate the idea of anticipating and getting a maybe like a 1/8, maximum 1/4 of a single unit size position and seeing if we can build above, but I just don't know how long that narrative is going to last, right? The play seems like it's right now for this giant storm that is covering. I'm in Thailand. I don't know how big the storm is, but I'm seeing a lot about it. Even my partner back in the States, who is in DC, he's quite worried of losing power for a while. Anyways, guys, the trade is now. So sometimes I'll play these like natural catalyst things outside of my typical structure that or models that I trade. So, you know, I'll put it out there. I'm not going to try to change my life on this trade. I don't do that on any trade. It might be worth a little bit of a chase here on anticipation, but you know, structure, that swing low, you know, that's what I'm saying, guys. That's pretty stretched. Probably going to get another gap up today. Yeah, that's a 25%. Like, dude, I wouldn't go over 1/8 size of a single unit. So that's like a 2% position. I'm not going to try to change my life. I may not even take the trade just because I feel that I've missed it for my trigger. That stop is quite wide for me. I can't do enough size on it because of that wide stop that, you know, it might just be a worthless trade for me. But, you know, for anyone that wants to, you know, speculate a little bit more, the idea is there, okay? The narrative is there. But let's jump into what I really like here, guys. If we're going to get follow through in the market, I showed you what that looks like, but really quickly here, that would be breaching the highs and building above. If we're going to get into that world, you know, we're not there. We're not there. So a lot of these names are anticipatory as well, but I think they're worth watching and mentioning. And if you want to take, if you think that's enough constructive look of what happened, if they're going to walk the tariffs back, if you think and know that you are thinking, because we don't have the confirmation yet, but if you'd like to initiate risk, I'm like 95% cash, right? So I'm open to taking some of these triggers, but I do prefer to have the full momentum of the market behind me after confirmation. But some of these things that I'm going to show you here today are pretty constructive, right? So you get this gap down that happened on JCI. This came off of, I believe it was like NVIDIA at CES mentioned that their new future chips aren't going to need water cooling, and you know, they took a pretty big hit to that, but that's not all these people do. Like, they're building the entire HVAC systems for not only data centers, but also their orders for data centers have improved. They're not only water cooling systems. Yes, that is one of the systems that they have introduced, But, I don't think this trade is dead, and I think it's kind of relative where we gapped down and just weren't able to sustain that move. So now we've got a gap down reversal in play with triple R trigger back over the 50. So you got the gap fill, okay, with retracement, reaction at around our level. What's the level? Prior all-time highs, remount of the 50. That is way too many lines, guys. I apologize, but gap down reversal with triple R trigger is on the table here for JCI. I do like this name long term. Let me say, I'm not positioning long term right now. The market is just not stable enough. I am expecting a major market correction to come again. It's obviously going to come. It's just a matter of when. Was this the initial crack? Do we make a lower high in the market and start to lose levels again? Is it coming sooner than later? We'll see. But like when that happens is when I will pull out the investing account again and start to add to things, DCA around, maybe add some new names that I like for the future. JCI is one of them. I also like VRT in the space as well. Okay, they provide cooling solutions, among other things. A bit of the infrastructure build out for data centers, okay? Also another one that, if we can get a major correction in the market that pulls this thing back down around its 200 or wherever it may land, when we start to get bottoming signals in the markets, and this is another one that's on the radar. Among other things, guys, that we'll talk about when that comes, but I'm not positioning long-term right now. I'm trading, okay, as the opportunities come. We got BTSG. This is a healthcare sector stock that is just beautiful. We've got a leader in a trend backed by growing fundamentals, holding structure with another triple R. I don't hate it through this range. Google holding up well. Most of the Mag 7 is not doing well. Microsoft looks like shit. Netflix, Apple, right? Nvidia is right now, but Google and Amazon look fantastic. We did get our trigger that I was saying was attractive to me. It's just I'm gonna wait, but I don't hate the idea of anyone that took this triple R trigger here on Google. And AMZN is another one that a bit of a shake and go with triple R trigger, right? So we got a breakout, fake out, shakeout, held structure, reinitiating over the 9, aligns with another move back over prior all-time highs. I don't hate that at all. And it's down here low enough that we might have some time for the market to actually, give us some follow through before that triggers. I'd love to see that. So no rush here, 239 to 240 is probably my trigger area there for Amazon. We're getting a little close. Never mind. Wipe that idea. Too close on earnings. Just see what happens after earnings, and we can go from there. Speaking of earnings, today is GE's earnings, which is it's going to move, I think, the entire space sector. Okay, so let's see how that goes today. Is it after hours? No, I'm seeing pre-market. Okay, I'm seeing pre-market, so that's fantastic. I would love to see that. So we're going to be watching this today. I expect to maybe miss a trade, right? If the reaction to the earnings report gaps this thing up, then I'm not going to chase that gap. I would look for the next trigger after. But what I like here is ASTS. If we do get a good reaction, I mentioned this here, guys, it didn't quite pull back just enough, but this is what I was talking about earlier, where it's like, hey, look, the breakouts are just, that's not what I want to buy anymore. I don't do it anymore, okay? You get a bit of a shake and go here. I would have liked a little bit more of a retracement. I think of GE, you can see what I was drawing out and looking for, okay? I was looking for a breakout, fake out, shake out that pulls and holds structure and then re-triggers through that area. I don't know if we're going to get that, though, because if GE has a good reaction to earnings, I expect the entire space to gap up. So let's look at a couple other ones here. Do we have PL? Is anything? I will go ahead and pull up my space watch list right here. You guys can copy this if you want or ask for it. All I have to do is copy the link and drop it in your comment. What do we have here? Yeah, none of these things really retrace that much. Yeah. Just didn't get under the 9 on any of these things, really. Man, hot sector. So we'll just have to see. If we do get a good report, then maybe we don't get a trade here. Also, I don't love the current state of the market. We don't have confirmation. I'm okay with letting this gap up and go, and the next triple R and any of these things remain very high on watch. Moving on, we've got CCL. This is a trade idea where if we can get the market to sustain a move higher. God, it's been months since it's been able to do that, but maybe we get some sort of gamma squeeze going on here. We'll see, right? But if that is to happen, CCL remains on watch. We've got a multi-year sideways consolidation. Sometimes I like to, not sometimes, the trade, the box breakout trade that I do is getting a quarter size just below the breakout level and then letting it build above. So getting a quarter size with the triple R just below the breakout level and then letting at triple R again above to go into full size somewhere in that world. That's the trade, but because we don't have a stable market, stable enough, a follow through market environment, I'm likely to just let this guy see if it breaks out and get the first triple R after that happens. But it's on watch. And then, the leisure sector is triple Ring right now. Frankly, we've got Hilton here, retracement, reaction, remount. We've got Marriott, retracement, reaction, remount. And we've got GM and Ford as well, retracement, reaction. I literally, the last day or two, someday this week, I said I really like GM, but it's a little bit stretched off of its 50. Let's see if this macro pullback can get this thing to pull back to the 50 and get a reaction off of it and a remount. That's what we're getting there. And Ford, sort of the same idea. Look at this, retracement, reaction at around our level. What's our level? The 50, prior swing low, okay, held structure. This is constructive with a re-trigger back over the short-term trend. This is very, very attractive stuff here, guys. If you're looking to initiate risk, these have the look for me. It's just control that size until we enter a follow-through market. We're going to be in it again. We're just not, okay? We're just not in a follow-through market. This is a follow-through environment. This is not. Can you see, you see the difference, right? Okay, but if we can break out of this thing and really build above, then I'm going to be taking a lot more trades. Jumping into emerging markets, let's do the EEM first. Look at this, guys. I should have mentioned this yesterday. I did not. I talked about it in chat. But anyways, let's go to the monthly. We've got like a 17-year breakout happening right here, okay? This is something we want to be trading if it can break out and confirm above. We absolutely want to be in emerging markets. I've been talking about it here for a little while now. So let's just keep our eye here on that as it's looking to break out. And here's my emerging markets list. If you guys want this, same thing, just comment below. I'll paste it into your comment. A lot of this stuff is pretty stretched right now, right? Here's a Latin American ETF. This stuff is stretched. We need to wait for the next triple R, something like this right here, okay? It'll come. It'll come, okay? Don't get jumpy. We are just now possibly getting this 17-year breakout in emerging markets, okay? Let it pull back. It will. It won't run away forever. I don't care if it runs, okay? Let it really break out. But I will wait for that first pullback. And if it holds structure, high probability, okay? But don't get shaken out in the first breakout. It's something that can happen, guys. So just wait. Wait for the first triple R to hold structure in emerging markets. That even moves over into our Brazilian market here, or even the Peruvian market, the Greek market, the Spanish market. A lot of these things are sort of running away. The Spanish market is actually looking to triple R trigger, but I only have these two banks as ADRs that we can trade, which both just triggered yesterday. Sorry, just this one triggered yesterday. I'm going to have to wait a little longer here to get into one of these, this Chilean market or whatever. The only one that I see triggering right now, possibly triggering, is this one, which this is a freight company or a shipping, marine shipping company out of Greece. And, the Greek market is hot. Emerging markets are hot. And we got a triple R triggering right here. I wanted to take this one, same sector, same industry. I wanted to take this one last week, but I just had a unexpected travel situation that really threw me off my game. And I wasn't going to be pressing buttons when I was in the middle of navigating that shit show. So anyways, another opportunity at it right here possibly. So you get a retracement reaction at around our level. Did not break structure. Did not break structure, guys. And through yesterday's high is a remount of the 9. That is quite attractive. And then rolling into retail, jump over to my retail list. Guys, if you want this, just ask. And, looking at XRT here, we had a bit of a box breakout, and this is what I like to see, all right? I like to break out, pull back, hold structure, and re-trigger. So this is looking quite attractive to me here, this sector. So some of the names, man, I really, really, really wanted this triple R trigger. I've mentioned it now a couple times. I was looking for the next triple R on Victoria's Secret. It just happened to come in a macro environment where I was not willing to add additional risk, right? I was taking profits yesterday or the last 2 days, not adding risk. And, does that make me feel like I missed this move? No, it's okay. There's a bigger picture happening here. There are multiple more opportunities to come out of Victoria's Secret. If we're going to get this IPO cycle, I think we're probably going to get a triple R trigger just below the breakout level that I'll be looking at. But at the end of the day, if we do break out of this IPO cycle, we're going to have some trades to the upside here above that 80 level for Victoria's Secret in the near future if that happens. But Gap is one that is on the radar here. I think this is, yeah, same deal. We got a box breakout here, triggered yesterday, so a little bit of follow through. You know, that's attractive, but, you know, we don't have the full market momentum behind us. We don't have confirmation in the market, so it's okay to wait for this thing to break out, confirm, you know, not break the recent swing low, whatever it ends up being at that point. It could be up here, but make sure it doesn't break structure. And the next triple R after that, quite attractive for me there. And Gap, that will be on watch. We got American Eagle here as well. The Sydney Sweeney trade still holding up through yesterday's high is a clean trigger for me there. And then we got Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and 5. All right, all these things. This one, 5 right here, this would be, it's more of like a range break or a resistance trend line breakout. You can apply the same idea as the box breakout, right? You could consider this the box. You could apply the same idea. There's a bit of narrative behind this, right? There's certainly, if we think that, and we don't know, if we think that the tariffs are going to be ruled unlawful and there's an argument that this is going to be positively affected from that, right? I'm pretty sure Five Below gets all their stuff from outside of the U.S., right? It's why it's so cheap. So, you know, this is the same idea of a box breakout, right? You could get your quarter size here with the idea that thing is going to break out and build above, or you could just wait for confirmation, let it break out, and buy the more high probability setup there, guys, with the momentum of the market, knowing that everything has aligned, get through that major catalyst of knowing what the SCOTUS ruling is on tariffs, right? I'm going to be doing that. A couple more here. Healthcare sector, let's do XLV. Take a look at the sector, right? Sector is triple Ring. That's usually a good time to look into the sector at your favorite leaders in it. So AORT, what do we got here? Big time range break, box breakout, IPO cycle. Call it what you want to call it. This is a box breakout. All right, that's what I'm going to call it right now. And we are getting a box breakout that pulled back in. It's retesting it, retriggering back over this 50 would be confirming that box breakout. I do like it in a sector that is also triple Ring as well. You know, this is one you might want to look into what this company's doing. Okay, last time we did see a correction in the market, or at least sputtering, stalling in the market, we saw a bit of a flight to safety into healthcare. It was a bit of a defensive rotation into that healthcare sector. I don't hate the idea of considering a longer term position in this company. I don't know anything about it. I know that I did my initial up and to the right check on fundamentals, and structurally it's got the look I like back over the 50, right? But I might actually look into this a little bit and see what we have going on here. Maybe this is something that could be a potential longer term hold. INCY, another one in the healthcare sector that we did show to be triple Ring. INCY is triple Ring alongside of it. And what do we have here? Another box breakout. I mean, guys, you could initiate quarter size, or you could wait for it to break out above and retest, confirm, all this stuff that I'm never going to stop saying because it's what works. And we got a couple more here. Lilly, triple Ring along with the healthcare sector. Look at that. All right, I don't want to wait for a box breakout, or I'm missing the move. You know, all these things you think. Look at this big box breakout, pulled back, retested, retriggered, and that was a beautiful trade. Getting another one here, retracement, reaction at around the 50, remount of the 9 with the healthcare sector triple Ring as well. And last one here, AMGN. We'll go ahead and wrap things up after this. You know, box breakout, absolutely beautiful. You know, I think I would probably want to wait and let this thing break out to highs and do above, you know, like I keep saying. But what do we got here? We up and to the right on fundamentals. Yeah, we're looking decent. Is this a biotech? Yeah, it is. So, you know, not my favorite sector to hold long term, but something positive is happening here. Are we all time? Yeah, blue sky breakout here. Blue sky box breakout here is possible. Huh. Yeah. You know, biotechs are tough, but the structure is here. I don't hate it. I would probably just want to swing trade this guy. I don't think I would be able to convince myself to invest. I don't know anything about the company, but anyways, first triple R above this box breakout is high probability. And with that, guys, we got a live session on Saturday. I wasn't able to do one last week, so I am excited to jump back in there with you guys this Saturday. Shoot me an email, warrensnacks@gmail.com. I will shoot you a live Zoom link. It is not a pitch. It is not a webinar. I go through all of the sectors. I do my live market analysis a little more in depth than what I do here today, and build my plan for the week ahead, build my two scenarios. What is my bullish scenario? What is my bearish scenario? What does that look like? What is doing nothing look like? Okay, so really more so three scenarios. We look at hot names, hot sectors, and then I do an AMA a couple of times throughout. And then at the end, I just full on open up. You can ask me anything. So I think the prior sessions have been fantastic. I'm looking forward to getting back to those regularly on Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. New York time on Saturdays. Email me at warrensnacks@gmail.com. I'll see you there. Guys, stay safe, manage your risks. Let's go make some money. I'll see you soon.